Welcome to a special edition of Fairway to Heaven. This is a live golf podcast. We're coming up to about a year anniversary for this podcast. So what better time to put together a best of episode, some of Jerry and myself, our favorite moments this entire year being together on this podcast. But also, Jerry is unfortunately unable to join us this week because he is currently evacuating from the hurricane that's about to hit Florida. For those of you who are listening in who might be in that same state or same area that might be hit by the hurricane, hopefully you stay safe. Please stay safe, okay? But yes, this is the best of episode. Hopefully you enjoy it as much as we do. If you've been a faithful listener of Fairway to Heaven, maybe you might share these same favorite moments. But if you are the first time listening to Fairway to Heaven, hopefully this will give you a good glimpse into what we're all about. Enjoy.
Oh, the name Fairway to Heaven, I love it. Almost to the song. It's amazing. Oh, I do love the name, yeah. I like the song as well. My dad is a big Led Zeppelin fan, so if he could say it easily, he would definitely be listening to this.
Speaking of the majors, you already won the US Open.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next one like that you have your eyes on?
I've always wanted to win the Masters. Ever since I was an amateur, and before that, when I was growing up watching Tiger chip in on 16, that really kind of sold it for me. I was like, okay, this is the next event I want to win, and the prestige behind it and the air around it. And then when I saw Augusta and experienced the people there, and I certainly love coming back there every single year. And I believe I'm going to get it done one of these days. It's just a matter of time and continued hard work and learning from my failures.
I think you'll look good in a green jacket.
I think I did shave a little bit, but you know,
they might have to fit the guns in there for all your muscles there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you could be the most jacked, green jacket winner. That'd be cool.
Just think of the content you would, because you get to keep it for a year. Just think of the content.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, geez.
Remember Tiger at Thanksgiving, him wearing the green jacket at Thanksgiving or something like that?
Yeah.
Or whatever he did, he had the trophy and this, like that sort of, that would be cool just to do stuff like that. That'd be fun.
I remember P Reed was at like a drive-through at 1 or 2 in the morning in his green jacket.
Probably.
Sunday night. Yeah.
That sounds like P Reed. I have words that I would love to say, but you can't. They say, oh, they haven't said one thing or the other. Not doing anything is deciding. And that's frustrating. They said you need certain requirements. We have fulfilled all those requirements despite what everybody thinks. If you go look at their handbook, we have fulfilled every single criteria. It's been over 2 years now. What's going on, guys? It's a bit frustrating, but nothing we can do at this moment is we showcase ourselves in the major championships. There's no way they can keep us out.
I say we as though I'm a player. We did that last year. I don't think the OWGR matters anymore, honestly. The conversation, if they started giving live players points now, it would be they're so far behind they'd never catch back up. Right? They've won that battle as a bargaining chip. The PJ Tour has.
And by the way, we knew that. Everyone on our side knew that going into this. That is exactly
talk about
what
that.
We're going to do. Exactly what they were going to do. Well, I'll talk about it. I mean, we all knew. We all knew that that was their leverage point. That's the leverage they had. It's the majors. It's those associations that have the leverage and they want golf to be a certain way. And you know what? Ultimately, they don't decide. It's the players that ultimately decide. Because if we all stopped playing, we all said, "Nah, we're good. We don't need to play." What do you think would happen?
Yeah.
Self-belief is the one thing you just cannot teach in the game. You can teach all the technique in the world. Can't teach someone to believe in themselves. Where did that conviction come from? Has that always been a part of your DNA?
It's funny. It came from me failing a lot and being comfortable failing.
It's a very uncomfortable feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, for most, it's very uncomfortable. But for me, and yeah, it sucks. I get mad, I get frustrated. But at the end of the day, when I fail, at 9, I'm able to go, how can I improve? How can I make that never happen again? I think that's what sets me apart.
For the young people who might be listening in or watching this on YouTube or on our Live Golf Plus app,
Would that be the advice you would give to young people?
Oh, look, there's failure that you can't obviously come back from, making sure you don't fail that hard, but failing enough to be like, man, this really sucks. I don't like this. And having a support system around you, you go, no, you can do it. It's okay. It's okay. Let's figure out how to get it done. Let's ask the right questions. I think that's the most important thing I can tell any junior out there, anybody out there that's listening to this is, if you can ask the right question when you fail, you are 50% of the way towards success and towards winning. The other 50% is just doing it.
What's the future like for the High Flyers?
So I want to have a world-class training facility, but I also want physical training and physical therapy. So I want everybody to have access to it. And then the High Flyers, as a team, what we want to do is create an opportunity for a lot of young players that don't have access to that, but are very good players that don't quite make it because they don't have the infrastructure to succeed. Like when they say it takes a team, like it really takes a lot of people to help you. Like I didn't start winning majors till I started working with Dave Pells, and I started practicing different. Right. And it was little things like when one shot often determines a major, right? We saw it at the US Open, we saw it in my career, my first major at the Masters, one shot. So it's like, where do you, over the course of 4 days, like how do you pick up a 1/10 of a shot, right? Well, one example is if you chip it to 4 feet, you make 90% of your 4-footers. But if you chip it to 3 feet, you make 100%. So over the course of 4 days, I need to chip every basic chip inside 3 feet and not 4 feet. That 1 foot is a fraction, and it makes the difference. So you're trying to get rid of fractions on your training, because to be great and to win the majors, you need to do the simple things exceptional. Yeah. Like I've always hit the ridiculous flop shot and the crazy stuff, but I didn't become really good and win majors until I got better at the simple things.
Now, if someone told you you would win 56 more professional events, including 6 major championships, what would you have said?
That's it? No. I had high expectations. Yeah. I've probably accomplished about what I was expecting or hoping. But I always had the dream of winning the Grand Slam in a single year. I never accomplished that. I always had the dream of like winning them all. I haven't won the US Open. Yeah. And I came close to like the Tiger Slam where he owned all 4. I had won the PGA in 05, the Masters in 06. Probably should have won the 06 US Open in Winged Foot.
Some people say.
Yeah. And looking back on that one, people talk about the drive. Well, I hit 2 drives in the fairway that final round. Yeah. I wasn't going to hit that fairway. It was the hardest freaking fairway to hit. and I'm averaging 4 fairways a day. Yeah. But my short game was the best it's ever been in my career. I got up and down on some of these shots. Like, it was the best week my short game has ever been. So the second shot was off a perfect lie over by the corporate tents. Oh, yeah. All I had to do was cut a 3-iron around these trees, and I started it not far enough right. I started a foot or a yard, and it just nicked the limbs. I mean, it missed it by a foot, and if I just start it far enough right, my ball will be up by the green, and I'm probably going to get that up and down if it's not on the green. Like, so that was where I lost it, not the drive. Like, I figured, okay, why would I hit forward? I know I'm not going to hit the fairway. Like, let's get it down there to where I have a chance to, like, get it by the green and get up and down.
We do this thing, I do this thing on the podcast where I call Fairway to Love. I get all of our golfers talking about the romantic side of their lives and sharing the insight into how, how you met your wife, who talked to who. Give us a scoop, Phil. Come on, Fairway to Love.
So I've got the greatest partner in the world. Amy is the best partner, and she has loved me through my best self, and she's loved me through my worst self, and we're really enjoying this stage in life together as we've gotten closer and we're dating again with our kids being out of the house and so forth. But I did not have a lot of game back in the day. And so I met her. I first met Amy. I had gone to a Guns N' Roses concert.
My goodness.
Guns N' Roses.
So she lived above a friend of mine, Keith Sabarbro, who's the one of the main guys at TaylorMade. He's out on, okay. Yeah. He's a great guy. He's the best at what he does. And she lived above him, and he was good friends. We were both knew Lance Seymour, who was the brother of Stephanie Seymour, the supermodel dating Axl Rose. And so we had passes to go to this concert. So we go to Phoenix International Raceway, and we're at this concert. Wow. Well, at midnight when we were trying to leave, there was a flash flood, and a lot of these the road got wiped away, and somebody got caught up in the water, and so there was this big look, hunt to try to find them, and the cars didn't move. So now it's 6:30 in the morning, and we're sitting in this car for 6.5 hours, and I pull in to our apartment complex at 7:25, and Amy is walking down to go to her 7:40 class, and Keith introduced me to her, and she was so stunning that I couldn't really talk much. It's like I said, I didn't have any game, and I ran into her a couple months later at the Phoenix Open, and she was a Phoenix Suns dancer, and they were putting on this Special Olympics putting contest. I ran into her.
Amy was a dancer, a Suns dancer?
Yeah, for a number of years.
Wow.
And the team was phenomenal. They used to travel with the USA Olympic team and the Dream Team, all that stuff. But she ended up, and I remembered that we had met, so we got to talking, and I was able to take her on a date. And it was at a time where it was early in my career, and she still had 2 years left of college, and we weren't looking for a relationship, but when it's the right person and it clicks, it just clicks. And so we wanted to just be together, and that's been the best thing in my life.
You had more game than you're giving yourself credit for, because you asked her out. She went on a date. You guys went on a date.
Dude, you went on a date with a Phoenix Suns dancer, for crying out loud. That's aiming high right there.
Yeah, I had game.
Yeah. Because of Emily and Bella, you somehow made this decision I'm sure it wasn't like a light came on, to maybe try and return to golf. When that became rumored, there was also many rumors. You had a number of options. There was some rumored financial incentive to go the PGA Tour route. Obviously, there was an incentive to choose LIV. What was the deciding factor for you? And are you? I'm going to ask you, are you happy with it? But I know the answer to that. Everybody out here is happy. But what was the deciding factor?
It's funny, right? Like there's some common themes that I get on Twitter as far as what people assume, the public.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the main things that I get is the tour wouldn't have had you back, and you can't play on any tour, and you didn't have another option. That's how I know they're stupid.
Yeah.
Because I've already said that I had options, and I'm not here to drag the PGA Tour or any other organization. Mm-hmm. The PGA Tour was unbelievable for a number of reasons in my life. I got to retire my mom, right? Like that was my main goal, playing golf. So I got to do that. Now, I definitely I was weighing both options. And it came back to one simple question, is how was my family going to be able to be a part of this? Yeah. Golf, I had three options. It was to go to the PGA Tour, it was to go play or come play here, or it was to not play golf. And all three had an equal shot. After a few conversations with LIV and with the PGA Tour, I was leaning towards not playing again. But my wife was like, who's ever going to get this opportunity again? You can do something that nobody else has done if you accomplish something big with your comeback. So do it for your daughter. And that's all I needed to hear to say I'm doing it. Mm. And it wasn't like she said, if you don't do well, things aren't going to be good. It was, show your daughter that you can put effort into something. Mm-hmm. Finish this job, and that's why I'm doing this. I've turned down more opportunities than accepted, sponsorship-wise, because I didn't agree that they fit where I'm trying to go in my life. Right. Sure, was there offers to be sponsored and to have logos on me and to make life-changing money? Yes, but I haven't accepted those because I want, if I endorse something or if I'm a part of something, I want the people that actually follow me to say, Anthony really believes in this.
Well, 12 years is a long time to be away from it, and golf has evolved so much since you stopped and came back and joined us. What was the most surprising thing about the game of golf that you were like, holy shit, I didn't know, like, what? Like, this is happening now?
Everything. When I was playing, actually an international series event with
Macau, was it?
In Macau,
yeah.
with some of the guys from the Aces, they were noticing that my ball was floating, and they asked me what ball I was playing, and I told them the same one from when I left, and they told me they switched the colors of the balls. So I was actually playing an opposite ball for the first 4 weeks of playing golf, not knowing that in 2020 Titleist changed the Pro VX to the Pro V. And so I immediately gained 15 yards as soon as I switched balls the next week. So I'm definitely lagging on technology and whatnot. I'm still working on lob wedges right now. Mm-hmm. I switched this morning. So things are progressing, but it's a lot, right? I'm trying to cram all this in pretty quickly, and I don't think people realize that I really haven't been doing this for that long. I mean, there's a setting on Apple phones where it tells you on this day a year ago where you were at or what
like
you were doing. A
yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
And
where were you a year ago?
A year ago I was in a boot, and there was a video of my daughter pushing me while I was in a scooter.
Because you broke your leg.
Because I broke my ankle.
On a golf course.
Yeah. I was teaching my wife how to play golf, and I was hitting a few shots here and there, and tried to jump a creek and put on some weight at my age, and didn't make it halfway across before I was in the lake, or in the creek. So broke my ankle, and golf wasn't on the radar at that point, right? Once I get to a certain level, I don't want to go backwards.
Yeah.
And the way I'm doing it right now, I have the right focus. I'm working on the right things, and I'm feeling healthy, healthier than I ever felt playing professional golf.
Yeah.
You know, I may have in my early 20s been able to get away with a lot more. You know, sometimes you go to a tournament, you don't sleep for the 4 days, right? And when people say, yeah, right, no, I really sometimes didn't sleep for 4 days. And so,
that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there was one tournament in North Carolina where I fell asleep on the 13th hole in a fan's chair, and they videoed me, and then they called me into the office after the round, and they said, you know, Anthony, we were live, and we saw you sleeping with your AirPods in, or your headphones in, on the 13th tee box. And my body had given out, so I was sleeping. And it was a funny interaction because there was 5 officials, and I was like, tell me the penalty for sleeping. There is none, by the way.
Right.
So I got away with one there. But, you know, I wasn't taking care of myself, and just to be out here, this is such a blessing.
Yeah.
I really can't put it into words.
I don't care who you are. I think every golfer has that inner demon, that hurdle, right? What's yours?
My driver.
His words.
Yeah.
Not that we say that occasionally on the broadcast.
I guess that would be it. It's definitely not a club that I feel really uncomfortable with or anything like that. It's just a club that I've kind of always struggled to get right. It's lost me more tournaments than it's won me, for sure. And I feel like there's a lot of time where I have to kind of rely on that, on the irons and the wedges, and the putting to kind of even, you know, get a top 10 or a top 15. Yeah, so it can be tough at times, and at times I want to pull my hair out and kind of start again with that club. But I know the work that we've been doing, particularly this off season, is the right stuff, and I think we saw a glimpse of that in Hong Kong. I think this week is a much harder test, and particularly with the driver. So it's good having a hard test heading into a big week like next week.
You're captain of Stinger GC, which includes Charles Schwartzel, who won our inaugural event, Brandon Grace, who won the second event in Portland, and Dean Burmester, who won last week. You know what the question is.
What are you trying to say?
You know what the question is.
And I asked a shitty question.
I thought it was going to be. Listen, when does this podcast start? When are we starting? Are we starting? Jesus. Okay.
Somebody had to ask it. It's not even a question.
Listen, never mind that. I've not won other than a Golden Ocala club competition in the US. I've not won on US soil. So I don't know what the hell it is, but I need to get the freaking win, man. There will be a big night. I can promise you that.
I want to be invited to that night. Jerry's just put himself on the shit list. Still, he won't be coming.
I'm out.
Well, we'll put him with the range coats. We'll put them in the back there.
Perfect. I can pass out as good as anybody.
What's the funniest, literally the funniest pronunciation of your last name that you've ever experienced?
So I mean, Westernhausen. So the funniest one was in China, which was it was around 2006 and 2007 playing European Tour, and I played with James Kingston, and we got to the first hole, and the lady just went into like when she saw this last name, she just went into like quiet. It was Louise. That was it. And James couldn't tee off because he was laughing so much. And then one of the funniest ones I had was I played in Spain, and this was still back in the day. I think it was a Challenge Tour event. I played in Spain, and with Republic of South Africa, so it's RSA behind our name. So I get on the tee, and the guy goes, and next on the tee, Louis Oosthuizen. And I'm like, I look at him and says, from Russia. So he got my name perfect, and then he gets RSA from Russia.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look, growing up in Africa, I've done some pretty stupid things. But
please expand.
The craziest thing I've ever done is when I was a kid, my brother and I got invited with my dad to like basically a bachelor party, but it was for families. It was kind of subdued, and the guy whose bachelor party it was obviously having a really good time. But he is a professional ranger and a former professional cricket player. Anyway, we're in the riverbed and it's wild and everything's going on, but they have people there, and a herd of elephant came down, probably under 50 or 60 elephant, came down to the river to drink. He said, all right, boys, how brave are you feeling? And I said, I don't know, brave enough. And he said, all right, strip down. So we both stripped down naked, or the three of us, and ran across the river, which has crocodiles in it, by the way. Rolled ourselves in fresh manure, like fully fresh, head to toe, hair, face, the whole works.
No.
And leopard crawled in amongst the elephant and lay there and watched them while they were drinking and playing and eating. So, I mean, I could have got stood on at any time. I mean, who knows? They can't smell you, so they don't know that you're there. So yeah, that was probably the craziest thing I've ever done. That was pretty crazy.
Now that we're in our third season with Live Golf, where do you see the range goats in the future? Like, what does the future for the range goats look like?
It's a great question. I don't know where we will be, if that makes sense. Because we've already talked to multiple golf courses. We've talked to multiple investors. Where can we move to host an event, to have our home course be there, range goats practice there, sponsors come there, things like that. So we've played with different ideas, but it's trying to find the right place that we want to live, but also where we want to grow something to the level that we come to expect at Live, if that makes sense. the 10-year plan is to have 30 to 40,000 spectators at the event. So how do you do that? You got to have the right location. You know, you can't just go and get a golf course or partner with a golf course. You have to find everything that fits perfectly. So that's where I see the range goats going, is finding a place like that. I think we're dialing everything in pretty nicely. Just like Liv's got some hiccups, we've got hiccups that we're fixing. But yeah, I think we're going in the right direction. And then as new talent comes in, the range goats and every team's going to get better and better as new young golfers come in. I mean, that's in any sport, right? The younger generations come in and make it go even further.
You've written some songs of your
What?
own, and in fact, our
This person
very
didn't
first
know it.
party hall. Hang on, the first party hall that we've ever had, he played his song as his walk-up song, which was freaking awesome. It was like the biggest mic drop, like Bubba's in town, baby. And it's rap. It's rap, Jerry. It's rap.
God, this interview is going so well.
So again, it goes back to my mind, right? I like fast beats. I've got to have energy. And I did, but just for the record, I didn't write it. His name is KB. He's a hip hop artist. So he asked me to do 16 bars on his song. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm not going to turn that down.
I do 16 bars a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I did it. It was 2015 we did it. And so I did a couple of songs with Golf Boys. I did a Christmas rap song too. So yeah, Jesus. I've had fun with it.
Is rap your thing? Is rap your thing, Bubba?
I love. So I listen to Christian hip hop or positive hip hop because I just would take out the cussing. But yeah, I love it. I love fast beats. I'll fall asleep. Country music, you know what I'm saying? Country music, I just fall asleep.
Dude, you're from Baghdad, Florida, for crying out loud.
And my name's Bubba. I know.
Country music is your birthright.
Going back to the Masters, you know, I remember watching that shot you hit on 10, and I'm just going, how on God's green earth did he see that shot?
In 2012, on number 10 in the playoff, second playoff hole, if you watch that video, I hit my tee shot and my shoulders just slump. I get down there, and then Louis hits this 3-wood, kind of flares it, doesn't draw. So he's in the first cut. And I mean, he's a long way back. He's got a 4-iron in, comes up short of the green. So now he comes up short, knowing where the pin is. So my mind is now going, okay, he's not going to birdie. He's probably going to par. He could bogey. So then when I get to my ball, the crowd makes the hallway already, right? It says basically the marshals move him out of the way, but they don't move him away from the trees because I'm not going to aim at the trees. So they made a path for me, kind of. So now I saw that. So then the wind's slightly coming from left to right. So the ball's going to hook. It's going to help it hook, and then once it hooks, it's downwind. And it's only like 5 miles an hour. It's not much, but it's enough to give you that positive energy. So him coming up short, the hallway, the wind going in my direction, the lie was good. Once the number was around 134 to the front, pin was about 30 on. So that gives us 164.
64.
So I had a 52-degree gap wedge that we hit around 135. And so hooking it, 140. You know, under the pressure, we were thinking 150, right? You know, the adrenaline, all the stuff. So we're, you know, give or take. We didn't say it, but we knew. We basically said it's not going past the pin, and it's probably at the best going to be in the middle of the green. And so I was like, I can hook it as much as I want. That's what I said to him. And he said, yeah. And, you know, he's always, Ted Scott has always said, I'm just carrying the paintbrushes. You're the artist. And so he just basically said, here, you grab what club you think. So I grabbed the 52 and I said, I'm aiming at the scoreboard and just rope hook it. He's like, yeah, it's easy. And so that's what I did. You know, the adrenaline, all the stuff working in my favor, where he hit it, the wind. it came out, and the worst part about the whole situation, if you watch the film, a dude slaps him in my back as soon as I hit it. And I don't like people touching me, especially people I don't know. That's my biggest pet peeve. So he hit me across my back hard as he could. He's probably had a beverage or two. And so I walk out, I go under the ropes, and I said, Teddy, why are these people touching me? I didn't even know where the ball was. I could care less where the ball was. I was so upset that people were touching me. And so I finally, once I took a deep breath, I said, where's it at? And where's my ball at? And he goes, it's on the green.
In your heart of hearts, do you believe you can still win another major?
Yes, for sure. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't even try to play them in. That's why this year I played the qualifier for the US Open and made it and had a decent US Open. I played the qualifier for the British Open and almost made it. I probably should have made it. So I'm gonna keep giving myself chances. I'm not gonna be like, you know what? I have Live and I have the Masters that I can play until I can't walk anymore.
Is there a particular major that you want to get next?
Yes, without a doubt, the Claret Jack, the British Open.
I'm curious, out of all those achievements, and including now being a co-captain of Majestic's GC, what are you the most proud of in your career so far?
I think it'd have to be getting to world number one. I think at any time you can say you were the best player in the world, and I was lucky enough to be able to do it for nearly half a year. It's an incredible achievement. Everybody's trying to get to that position. Not many people do, and took the number one spot of Tiger as well, which gives it a little bit of added spice. So that's the pinnacle of, I guess, anybody's career, really. Being able to say the best in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and you took number one rank from Tiger, but you also, I mean, one other little feather in your cap not many people know of, as I remember watching it, you beat Greg Norman in a playoff to win his National Open. That had to be, I mean, the least popular victory you ever had at home in Australia, but it had to be something pretty special because he was basically God at the time.
Yeah, he was world number one at the time, 1997 down in Melbourne. Went down there. I was on a hot streak. I think I'd won in Japan and finished second in the Gene Sarazen World Open. So went down there with a lot of confidence, played well, beat Greg on the fourth extra playoff hole, and I pretty much remind him every time I see him about that.
You have a lot of fans out there. You're kind of like this growing folk hero in the game because of what you've done at this stage in your career. You can't manufacture that. You can't write this script.
No, it's been a bit crazy, really. Right after the British Masters, I had so many messages that came up on social media, kind of. People, and it was really quite overwhelming in some respects that, people of similar age to me, that whatever struggles in their life they were going through, said, look, I'm going to keep going. You've given me the inspiration to never give up and keep going. And it was, like you say, I wasn't expecting any of that. Yeah, that was really, I read every single message. I still have every single message on my phone. That was something I wasn't really ready for after the British Masters. And, I replied to some of the messages I couldn't reply to. I'd still be replying now, I think, if I was going to reply to every single one. But that was something I wasn't really ready for with that. The people really, how it affected them and how it inspired them. It's not when you're just out there playing and focused on what you're doing, you don't think of all that's going on, maybe that's affecting other people. And it was nice to hear those stories, and it was quite overwhelming.
Does knowing that you still have a huge following in the game because of what you've done at this late age, and especially what you're now doing within Live against younger guys with huge resumes, does that give you more tolerance to pay the price for success, to put in that hard work, knowing that there are people out there who you'll never meet, who you are helping them cope with their situation in life?
Yeah, definitely. It's great when you hear people shout out to you that you're kind of doing it for the old guys, and that's great. I love that. and like you said, obviously the kind of the success came, to my career a little bit later than it's done for probably some guys, but yeah, for me, it's not necessarily that I certainly don't work anywhere near as hard as I used to as regards to the amount of time that I put in now. My body can't do that anymore. I know that. When I was 20 years old, I could hit balls for 7-8 hours, not even taking a break. If I did that now, I'd be down the A&E for the night. I'd be someone would have to put me back together, just because of the wear and tear that puts on your body. So for me, it's just, I practice for as long as I want to practice now. Some days that might just be an hour. Some days it might be 4 or 5. Depends. If I feel that my game needs the time to be put in, then I'll put it in. If I feel like I'm doing pretty well, I'm playing all right, everything is where I need it to be, then for me it's just about maintaining that. And I don't feel like I have to I don't have to stand on the range for hours on end to keep that.
I'm going to say the story because it was GMAX. So GMAX on Live now, and we were playing at the FedEx St. Jude in Memphis, and I was pissed on one hole. We were paired together. Sorry. And I hit a shot in the bunker on one of the holes, and I hit it out, and I was just kind of, motherfucking myself, getting all down on myself, getting pissed at myself. And he was about to take it back, and I slammed my club in my bag, and he backed off, and he was hey man, I understand, but try to chill a little bit. And he said it in a respectful way. It was great. But it times like that, help you realize it's dude, you gotta relax a little bit. You know what I mean? It's okay. You can recover. It's not the end of the world and stuff. And I think that helps you enjoy it a lot more. It's cool to be able to do what I do and stuff. And it sucks to be able to go out there and, not look forward to it, because I know there's so many people that would take my place in a heartbeat. They would give anything to do the things that I do or be able to do the things that I do. So, I just, I enjoy it. I get to travel the world, play with, really cool people, compete against the best. And, it's been fun. I'm definitely glad I joined Live. And that was actually one thing too, that joining Bubba's team, it was so awesome because he cares more about how you are, how you act, how you carry yourself, the man you are, than he does your golf score. I think he knows, he has confidence in all of us that we can all play good and we're all putting in the work and doing what we need to do in order to, play the best the best we can. And everyone's different. So we all have different routines. We all like to do different things, but at the end of the day, it's, that's the most important thing. And if you do that, everything kind of take care of itself. So it's been a cool message. So I feel like that's why I've actually been able to play well this year. I've been, a little looser out there.
Every golfer gets pissed off. I've seen you get puffed. Everybody's seen you get pissed off. Is it hard to learn how to do what Terrell does and Rahm does to be able to be over it by the next shot?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone has their ways of dealing with it. I think that's what anyone who struggles with, getting frustrated or, angry and stuff, it's just, you got to let it go. You got to just, or almost learn to channel it too. I think that's what my caddy always tells me, Nick. He's always whenever I get pissed, and I'm always dude, I don't know why I'm getting pissed. He's no, it's good to rage. He's all the best ever have raged. If you're the greatest to do something, you're going to get frustrated when you don't do it. So it's he's your expectations are high. It's good. Rahm, Tiger, all those guys, they've all raged before, we've all seen them throw clubs and, yell and just it is what it is. But, I think you have to learn to kind of channel it and use it as a strength to get locked in. I deleted all I don't have social media anymore.
Seriously, good for you.
So yeah, someone from the Range Goats, Gabe, Bubba's caddy, he runs my social media, my Instagram and stuff. So if anyone, if I haven't answered any DMs or anything like that, it's because I don't have it at all. I mean, I know social media, there's so many great things to social media, but like I said, I deleted my social media. I think that is one of the biggest things, seeing seeing everything. Like, you're seeing every comment about you. You're seeing every post about you. Like, anyone can say anything they want about you. And like, there are some people who are great at just brushing it off, being like, these people have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know them. Like, you know, like, I assume, like, you know, there's guys out like on tour that see that stuff and like, they don't care, you know. But you know, there's other people who, like, when they see that, like, it does affect them and stuff. And I think that is like such a big reason why people like suffer so much, is because they see all these negative things and stuff.
Greg Norman's always telling me, take the high road because there's no traffic. I
It's
love
hard.
the high road. I would
I
take the high road.
I was born in traffic, like, right?
Yeah, you're from
Like, I grew up in LA. Like, I'm here.
You made a nice paycheck last year.
It was 32 with just his 3 wins and winning the league championship, and then plus all the other finishes.
What does Juan do with that stash?
Well, first off, Uncle Sam comes calling. I will say I did splurge and I bought myself a nice car. I have also purchased a PBR bull riding team.
No way.
No way.
That's so cool.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
Yes. In fact, I don't know if that the announcement hasn't come out yet. So if PBR, if Sean and you guys are listening, I'm sorry if I spilled the beans. Professional bull riding has always been an individual sport. And the CEO of PBR, Sean Gleason, a couple years back in the middle of the lockdown time, almost similar to Live, actually
Very
extremely
much so.
similar to Live.
Yeah.
This guy was like, you know what, we're going to create teams. And starting in 2024, I will be the owner of a new PBR team. So mine will be based in the city that I grew up in, Oklahoma City.
Have you actually considered driving an Uber for a while?
I did not consider driving Uber, but
Lyft.
No, it was my second year of doing Q school. Going into the final round, through 4 holes, I think it was 1 or 2 over par. And so I, for sure, am outside the number now to advance the final stage. And I only have 14 holes left to get back in it. And as I'm leaving the 4th green to headed to the 5th tee, which is a tee ball I am not comfortable with, sitting there, I'm like, well, you don't have any money. You're going to have to go get a job if you don't get your shit together. And that job is, for whatever reason, it crossed my mind. I'm like, you're gonna have to go get a 9 to 5 at Best Buy. Like, you're gonna have to go grind your butt off, get an hourly wage at Best Buy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but at that point in time, I was like, you're gonna have to go work at Best Buy. You're gonna have to go sell TVs to fund this dream of being a professional golfer. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, Jordan Spieth, who I grew up playing with, had like a breakout season in 2015 and played great. I'm sitting there watching a kid who I grew up playing with, like, winning majors and crushing it. I'm sitting there, I'm like, and you're gonna have to go work at Best Buy.
Which one of you two would you say is an easier guy to caddy for?
It's probably Henrik, because his bag generally every week gets lighter as he goes through the tournament, because there's not as many clubs in the bag. He's broke them and thrown them away.
I was gonna say, what does he do when you snap those clubs? Like, does he ever say anything to you? Or?
No, wrong guy.
That's also very, like, well-oiled machinery, because
he travels with a backup set just in case.
He did back in the day, but not anymore. I'm older, I'm calmer, but occasionally it's and just like 2 pieces. It's almost like
But then it's over. It's behind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's happened a few times, so. Don't do that, kids. It's not good for you. On camera, then, we say that at least we got to do 1 each to each other this year. Then in 24 season, you got to prank me once, and I got to get you back, or vice versa.
Needs to be on
once.
camera too.
Yeah, and we need to get something cooking here, because it's been.
He's already got it in his head.
It's been too long. Now, listen, let me tell you, he is the slyest of slies there ever is on pranks, and he might look like he's not focused. He is 100% focused on every opportunity he can possibly get.
He just gave me the eye, and that's the look that kind of screams prankster.
I think
But the
it's not
last
often
one-
you see fear in his eyes, but when it comes to pranks, I think he almost feels like he's found his match here.
I've definitely found my match, but I was willing to go maybe a step too far last time. And I was more in fear of Mrs. Stenson
If
than
you
Mr.
start
Stenson.
like going into trying to repaint someone's house
I was
pink
going to
when
paint the
they're
front of
away
his
and
house
stuff,
pink.
then
When he come back from holiday, he would have pitched up and his whole house would have been pink.
Oh, that would have been so epic.
I probably would have been laughing, but
That
I
would
know
have
someone
been
who wouldn't have.
so
and
epic.
Mrs.
You would have been out there with like the rollers the next day
Mrs.
trying to get.
S would have been seriously pissed.
This guy just went from Belfast to Alabama. I mean, you want to talk about a culture shock.
I was on a recruiting trip, but like strict NCAA sort of regulations said that I think you could only be on the ground for 48 hours or something, you know. But like I'm flying in from Northern Ireland. I'm not gonna come in for 48 hours. So I think I was staying for maybe 3 days or 4 days or something like that. So, you know, I'd been instructed to say that I wasn't on a recruiting trip. I got pulled into secondary and immigration in Memphis, and because I didn't have the address where I was staying in Birmingham, and I remember the officer said to me, what are you doing going to Birmingham, Alabama? And I said, just going to visit some buddies there at the school. And he said to me, you're not on a recruiting trip, are you? I said, no, sir. And so I had a phone number for the boys I was staying with, a couple of guys in the golf team. And so the guy, the immigration officer types in dials the number, calls these guys up, and he said, I've got a Mr. McDowell sitting here. What's the purpose of his visit to Birmingham? He's on a recruiting trip, The guy looks at me and he said, well, you realize you just lied to a Customs and Border Patrol officer. And I was like, yes, sir. I'm sorry. I ended up missing my connection. It was a long story, but one of those kind of like early kind of travel stories in your life that you look back and you go, man, I really had no idea what I was doing.
What's the story when you were traveling around Ireland, sleeping in a car with a pigeon?
I didn't really ever have a car, so a couple of my buddies in Portrush, they were good players as well. So we'd all go to the same tournament, so we'd all carpool. So one of the boys would drive, and this one year we were taking a homing pigeon that got lost. We were taking him back, and we were driving him. We drove him 7 hours down the west coast of Ireland, and we let him out of the car park in Lahinch. That was our instructions.
That's got one job.
Yeah, he got one job to find his way home, and he ended up a long way from home. And we had to drive him. We had to drive him back so he could. No idea to this day if that pigeon ever found its way home. But we let him out in the car park in Lahinch.
Just to set the scene, Graeme, what was playing on the Ghetto Blaster?
I remember Ricky, who caddies for Brooks. Him and I drove down to the same tournament one year. He had his cassette player in the car, but it was broken. He couldn't get the tape out, so we just had this one tape, and it was just a double-sided tape that one side was Eagle Eye Cherry, Save Tonight.
Nice.
Save tonight till the break. So we heard that like it was on a repeated loop, and the other side was Fast Car. Who sung that one?
Tracy Chapman.
Tracy Chapman. Fast Car.
Good.
So that was the two songs that we had.
We'll get to the Tiger bit in just a little bit, but what was that experience like for you playing in the President's Cup for the first time?
There's a lot of things that I like to clarify of how everything went down. So
I love it.
Good.
So in a month before the President's Cup, we were playing in Mayakoba. In the press conference, they were asking me, hey, so if you had to pick, who would you like to play against on Sunday? And I was like, well, no disrespect to the other 11 or 12 guys, but I mean, it would be insane if I will play against Tiger. I mean, that's my childhood hero. And then the next day, I get all these tweets and whatever, Abe Ancer quotes, I want Tiger. That's what it said. I was like, well, that's not how I said it, but whatever. So I get all these like people just sending me texts like, who do you think you are challenging Tiger? I'm like, oh my gosh. And then the match itself, I mean, I think we both actually played pretty well. He did not miss. He made every single putt that that he needed to make. End up losing on 16 green. And by the way, the video you're talking about, it's fake.
It's
he didn't
completely
take his hat
edited.
off.
Yeah, completely edited.
It's edited.
Yeah.
I mean, he took the hat off I mean, pretty quick right after the ball went in. But I think that was a great edit, and they killed it. Whoever did that video, it looks really good. I mean,
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and have a very hot take. I think 98% of the players would agree with me, but being around Jon Rahm is different, right? When you're playing with Jon Rahm every day, it teaches you for the noise to not affect you. Just being around him helps me get better. You know, I don't even have to try to get better. I seriously don't. I don't have to ask them questions. I just gotta be there, right? Because when you're there, you just subconsciously learn so much, and it's just a belief system that constantly keeps getting built, right? So, and then look, Jon Rahm is better than me at every aspect of the game. Like, if I would rate myself a B plus in one aspect of the game, he might be an A minus. Like, no matter what it is, he's one of the best. He's the best in every category I've ever met, and he has the best mind. So it's humbly and vulnerably, I have to say that I'm going to get better just because he is truly better than me. Like, he knows how to win. He can beat me. My bad golf doesn't beat his bad golf. My great golf doesn't beat his great golf. Does my good golf beat his bad golf? Absolutely. Well, but his bad golf beats my bad, and his good beats my good. You know, so there's some issues there, right, over time. But you know, I know I'm going off, but on that same point, one of the hardest things has been setting Jon Rahm as the standard, right? I hit a bad shot on the course. I'm like, gosh, like Jon wouldn't hit that. You know, when I don't get up and down out of the bunker, I'm like, gosh, I know Jon's getting that up and down.
That is a good question, actually. So I'm going home.
Don't sound so surprised.
Yeah,
she's
so
actually very good at this.
So I'm going home tomorrow, actually.
It's
so
all
I
right.
get
Leishman gives me enough shit. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He gives me enough shit.
No, I do. I think I'm a third favorite ripper. So
who's last?
So you just got off the golf course. Yep. You got to play with Bryson today.
I did.
I want to talk about athletic guys. I would say certainly one of them on our league. What was that experience like? Did he give you any tips?
Bryson's awesome. Obviously, he's athletic. You know, he's got the physique. He can hit the ball a mile, but he's so smart. He's so brilliant. I would ask him one question. And, you know, you never know what type of answer you're going to get, but Bryson, he's going to lay it all out. You almost have to cut him off like, all right, I either get it or I don't get 90% of what you said, but it sounds like a great answer. But he was awesome. Gave me a bunch of tips on putting, how he reads putts. Obviously driving, I got a couple of driving lessons from him, but he was awesome. Thomas Peters as well, played with him, the front nine, he was great. So just watching these guys operate, I mean, they're aliens. Like how they play, how they hit, just everything, it's awesome.
Yeah, did Bryson give you a physics lesson?
Yes.
Physics. I was going to say, he's known as a mad scientist in golf. Is there an equivalent in football?
Oh.
Is there somebody who approaches things as analytically as he does?
I'll probably say Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was one of those guys that he wanted to know. I didn't play with him, but played against him.
You picked him off.
Yeah, I did pick him off. I did pick him off. And at the end of my career, played 6 years with the Colts. So there were a lot of people who either was in the building when he was playing or former teammates of his. And I would obviously ask questions, how did Peyton operate? And he just ran the show. But he wanted to know what everything was, where everything was going to be. And then I had the coach that drafted me, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He was the same way as far as just, having that control and knowing what everyone on the football field and in the building, what their job was and how they were executing.
Now, did you take your boys, the rest of the cliques, out to some of your favorite restaurants and spots?
No, actually, I invited them a couple of times to my place here. We all had dinner here at my place, and then we had a little competition because from our patio, there's a bit grass, like a big grass area, and there's a golf hole from Almenara Golf Club down there, which is around 225 meters away. There's a green, so everybody who comes here has to participate in the competition. So I put a few balls out there, but I only have a 3-wood, so everybody has to take the 3-wood. And then we all hit towards their green. I don't know if it's allowed or not, but I'm sure the greenkeeper in the morning will be surprised how many balls he will find there. So the whole team, we played nearest to the pin. Believe it or not, our chef, he was the best. He hit the best shots. Richard Bland and Kalle Samoya, they destroyed my grass. They put proper divots into their grass, into their lawn. So I might need a greenkeeper.
Oh, that's awesome. That
was
is
fun.
awesome. Your chef, Juan? He must be a decent golfer to hit it from 250 with a 3-wood.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He has definitely the fastest club head speed from all of us. Yeah, he can play.
Really?
No way.
The chef was cooking, Joanne.
He was cooking.
I know he was cooking.
Louis didn't call you from the neighboring farm, but he does have a fainting goat named after you.
Yeah, he does. Did he not tell?
You didn't know that?
He did not know that.
Oh, that's awesome. He has fainting goats. If you knew there was such a thing.
And he calls them the range goats.
And they're named after all
And
four of last year's.
The original,
range goats.
yeah, 4 range goats.
No way.
And he says Bubba faints the most.
No comment. I like to keep things.
You didn't know?
No.
Oh, that's a new conversation you're going to have with him.
Well, I want to go take a picture of this goat.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. He says they faint all the time. You've seen videos of fainting goats, right?
I had never heard of them before.
No. Go on YouTube and just type in fainting goats. They don't get hurt. It's just a natural phenomenon that happens to them. It's a very specific breed of goats that faints when they get scared.
So why do you buy these? It's just like, do you buy these goats?
Yeah, I guess so.
sure
He
he
did.
bought
I'm
them.
sure he bought them. Yeah,
Well, Louis bought some terrible goats.
No, what?
Hey man, let's get the goat that passes out. That sounds like a good one.
I think they're the highlight of his farm. I mean, he loves it.
I don't think I think when his place is done, I don't think that's gonna be the highlight.
Oh,
I think he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about this place.
I think there's a deal. I think it's going to be done. I think it's going to be done soon. If indeed that happens, how many more tournaments would you play if allowed, if you were invited?
Probably not many, to be honest with you. What I personally like, I love live, love the schedule, and then I like to play some internationally. There's an event like in the Dominican Republic. I'd go play that one. Like, I know it's like a small opposite field one, but I'll go play it. I always see quotes from guys who are like, oh, these guys need to do this if they want to come back to the tour, do this. I've not seen a single live person be like, I want to go back and play. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure like guys have come out and been like, oh, I want to play 1 or 2 events here and there, but like no one's come out and been like, I want to play a 15 event schedule. I don't see how guys are going to be able to play 14 live events and then 15 PGA Tour events and then majors, like that's just guys aren't going to play that. The thing that's been lost in this whole shuffle, I think, is the European Tour. And I partially feel more attached to the European Tour. I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. I don't feel like their merger has gone maybe as well as they would have liked. And
They've been shafted, and
a little bit.
absolutely hosed. Yeah.
So I'm curious if there is something that can be worked out with live, the European Tour, maybe the Asian Tour and international series events, maybe kind of something coexisting within that world. And then kind of the PGA Tour kind of doing their own thing.
So wait, so you've had more swing coaches than girlfriends?
So when I'm a golf nerd, and we went through this comfortably. Yeah, I've much more swing instructors than girlfriends, 100%.
But you and Heather have been together since college.
Yes, exactly.
She finished school once you turned pro. I remember standing by her in the airport on Monday morning while she's flying back to Stillwater, and you're going out to play an event. Yeah.
That's correct, exactly. So that also sets it in my favor. But yes, so no. I've had my fair share of instructors, and the cool thing on that is I've learned something from every one of them. So I haven't walked away from one golf teacher or one session, whatever, not learning something, and that's one thing really cool in our sport is that you never learn it all, and you can pick nuggets and learn something from everybody.
Masterful deflection, Sue Ann. He talked about how the question was about girlfriends, and he talked about how many instructors he had.
I know. I was hoping.
Because the girlfriend topic isn't very exciting. So you're exactly right.
I was hoping it would just catch on a little bit and give us a little something.
No, there's nothing there. I wish there was. Yeah.
That's disappointing, Charles.
No.
I let a lot of women down, Sue Ann. Trust me, you're not the first.
Your wife, Haley.
Very good.
Haley, how did you guys meet and tell us that love story, man?
Honestly, we met in school, and she liked me, and she got me. You know that. I would like to tell you different, but it was not that I can tell you a fairy tale story that
I want to interview Haley right now. I want Haley to come in and tell her side of the story.
You can ask her; she'll tell you the same thing. She look.
She hit on you? She kind of hit on you, or what?
I barely
Who
speak
hit on
English.
who? Who
She
hit
told
on
me
who?
said that she liked me, and then I knew she liked me, but I barely speak the English. We had that language barrier, but it is the truth. She saw me, she liked me, and then she told me she liked me, and then I liked her back. I mean, that's a short story, but it was like that.
That's always the male version of every love story.
Now I have way too many
know?
questions, but not suitable for a podcast.
Now, Haley, she's American, right? Is she American?
She's from Texas.
And now does she speak Spanish?
Perfect Spanish.
We're gonna go all the way back to your famous 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about it first.
Jesus Christ.
The
questions you lead with.
Listen.
Let's take it back to, this guy's had a glorious career. He has achieved so many things.
But
let's go back to the worst hole of your entire existence.
Let me tell you why, because this was one of my favorite moments as a golf fan with Kevin, because he walked out of that bush with the biggest smile on his face, as if nothing happened. And
I had to act like nothing happened.
I know,
It was embarrassing.
but that's what made me, as a fan, go, I love this guy. That was such a great moment. But just talk us through kind of what was going through your mind. Why didn't you go back to the tee?
Dollar signs?
Did you see Kenny's face, though?
No.
No.
What was he saying?
He was pissed.
You were 20 years old in Bangkok. You get your first win. It's a big, giant paycheck. You're in Bangkok, where most kids your age who won a tournament like that would go party on Sunday night like tomorrow's a rumor. And you went back to study, I heard.
Yeah, I went back to study. I had an exam next morning, and
Jesus.
obviously
Which
I needed to
subject?
prepare maths.
Oh.
I had a math exam, and they were online, and they were kind of hard.
How do
it
you
was a
study
proctor.
after
It was
the
a
adrenaline of that?
I know. It was a proctor. That was a video that the professor was actually looking at you all the time, so you couldn't get any advice or any help. And there were some things that I was struggling with, and I knew I needed to make it. So, and I'm also never been a big partier or drinker. I never drank alcohol in my life or anything. So, for me, obviously, I was exhausted, like you said. It was a lot of pressure, a lot of hard things. But I had on my mind that I needed to take that exam on Monday, and it was time difference and stuff. So I had an extra 4 hours to study. So yeah, we had a nice dinner. We celebrated a little with my agents and the players that came through. My mom was there and my cousin. But then after dinner, we went and studied for a little. And then I woke up early in the morning and did the exam, and it went well. I think that week everything was going pretty well. And then we took our flight to Jeddah, and obviously, I don't think, looking back at it, I don't think I enjoy it as much as it needed to be. But obviously, it's the first one. You don't know what to do. You still think you were dreaming.
Do you think that always playing as an underdog, that you're still facing that as now a representative of LIV?
It's reduced.
Yeah.
Jerry, if you asked me this question 18 months ago, it would be an overwhelming yes.
Yeah.
But it's always there. I think winning a LIV event is super hard because you just look at all the guys you got to beat. Right. It's not a joke. If you do win, the people who don't understand what it takes to win will think it's a joke.
Yeah.
And that is what is really disappointing. I like to keep my head down, focus on my golf. I'm still working as hard, if not harder than I did on my game. I still want to go out and win tournaments. I want to beat these guys. I want to prove to myself that I can beat all of these guys. To answer your question, yes. I think to some extent, it's sad. And I think we all live and die with each other.
There's a common bond.
Yeah,
There's a fraternity.
Because, you know, like late last year, Dean Burmester won 2 weeks in a row, Joaquin won, Louis won, you know, all these guys. And it was like, you know, you show them, because it's like everybody says, this is not like, really?
54-hole exhibition, they can't play. They've done nothing but win the entire time.
It's fine. You know, you get to the point where haters are going to hate. You know, down the road, there's been a lot of guys who've done 180s. I think over the next few years, that number of people who do 180s is just going to increase.
Yeah. There's no question.
Right? Yeah. And a lot of people who have taken this moral high ground, which has been, you know, fed to them, are going to start realizing, oh shoot, you know, they just made a monkey out of me.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to Fairway to Heaven. As always, we appreciate you choosing us as your designated podcast and the one that will keep you company, whether you're on your drive or cleaning the house or whatever you may be doing. If you enjoyed the little snippets of the episodes, you can certainly find your favorite guests, all available on our Live Golf YouTube page. All the episodes of Fairway to Heaven are available there. Also, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, please do subscribe. Please do like us. Please do show your support, show your love. We are on every single platform that is available on the podcast, whether that's Apple, whether that's Spotify, you can find us there. We also have our very own social channels at FTH_Live Golf. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, as well as the X. We'll be back next week, same programming. Jerry will be back as well. Don't you worry. And we'll have a very special guest lineup for you. Stay tuned. We look forward to catching up with you.